both the NSL and A-League eras, and thus why he was fan-voted into that team of 20 years. Ben Abraham has the whistle tonight. Assistants Daniel Ilievsky and Joey Lee, and Johnny Barrero is the fourth official. VAR, if we need it, will be manned by Chris Griffiths-Jones, and Melbourne City will attack the left of your screens in this first half. Ben Halloran loves playing against Melbourne City. They're his favourite opponent. He has 7 against them. The other end of the experience scale, young Ben Mazzio hoping to continue his strong start to his A-League career. So top 6 spot is on the line. Who will make the jump in? 3 points could be precious to kick off round 14 in the Isuzu Ute A-League men's, as Melbourne City get this one started against Adelaide United. And there's a long probing ball. Does its best to try and find Leo Natel. Leaves it here with Galloway on the overlap, and Galloway, there could be a chance from kickoff. And as I introduce Phil Moss, Jamie McLaren has already fired the first salvo.
Well, it goes without saying that's a very positive start from Melbourne City at home. They'll be very keen, Teo, to bounce back from the weekend loss to the Central Coast Mariners, as we see Galloway with some wonderful work in a wide area. Jamie McLaren just couldn't wrap his left foot or left toe around that enough at an acute angle. A very positive start nonetheless.
Mossy, that dust up at the end of the Central Coast game, perhaps a good sign for the spirit and the unity of Melbourne City, that they wanted to fly the flag at the end of an impassioned game, and maybe on the short turnaround carry a bit of that into tonight.
Yeah, that's right. Look, it was a stinking hot day on the Central Coast, and just as the temperature was cooling, it actually heated up a bit and tempers flared. It was great to see that sort of passion. I mean, I'm not one for fisticuffs on a football field, and I don't think there was any. It was just push and shove, but there was plenty of passion behind it.
Galloway with the intercept here. He's been the main character of the first 90 seconds, and with the sweeping pass over to the right side, Mazzeo tucks it inside to Ugarkovic. Under pressure from Tunnicliffe, and now the long ball sets McLaren a course to go and chasing a slip here from Warland. Gifts possession. Tolgay Arslan, the man to make something happen, Arslan. But he wrapped his right foot around it and hooked the shot.
He created the space for himself very well there, Arslan. Just couldn't quite get the power he was looking for on the shot, but Jamie McLaren lively early, linking up with the talisman of this side, the number 10 in Arslan. Interesting selection from Calvert. Isaias playing at right side centre-back rather than his customary holding midfield role. Now, we've seen Isaias at the back before, so it's not completely foreign to him, but interesting little shuffle of the cards there by Viet.
Of course, Lockie Barr, I should say, has been out for quite a while for Adelaide. Fans desperate to see him return to the defence. It's Ben Warland and Isaias tonight. Misplaced pass here will give possession back to Melbourne City.
Well, it begs a question with Melbourne City coming out of the block so strongly. Obviously very, very keen to make amends for the weekend result. And Adelaide haven't played now, I think it's 13 days. So sometimes that can freshen you up. Sometimes you can lose a little bit of match rhythm. Time will tell, of course, but the opening exchanges are reasonably telling.
Win probability, loving Melbourne City here, but the historical head-to-head record, as we check in on City's active fans for the first time, tells us a little differently about a fairly close-to-call contest. We'll stay with Adelaide trying to clear their lines out of defence. First touch for Nestor Irankunda. And now Zach Clough, Hiroshi Ibasuki, hat-trick last time we saw him, albeit 2 weekends ago. Now Tunnicliffe plays the ball to Isaias. So all-time it's City 13 wins, 13 draws, Adelaide 16 wins. And Adelaide ahead by 8 goals head-to-head, but 6 of those came the last time they played. So you could barely split them until that 6-0 result when they met earlier in the season.
Yeah, and what a memorable game that was for so many different reasons. In the right ways for Adelaide and the wrong ways for Melbourne City. I just wonder if that result may have copped a couple of mentions in the dressing room in the lead up to this one.
Can certainly stick in the mind of Tunnicliffe because it's his only A-League goal so far, but his midfield unit are going to have to backtrack in earnest here, because Leon Natel has Arslan over on the left and players calling for the cross on the right side of the box. Arslan delivers now, and it's volleyed away by Warland. Galloway backtracking, has Curtis Good and his fellow central defensive partner in Jordan Hall. City trying to keep the tempo high and advanced ball position and in possession in this first half. No thoughts of knocking it around the halfway line. They are doing business at the edge of the attacking third. What a strike! Brilliant goal! Terry Antonis! He is putting together some collector's items with his goals this season, and that is highly likely to feature in the best of Januaries at the end of the month. 1-0 City.
And yes, baby, as he sucks his thumb in celebration, and no doubt tribute on the Harvey Norman replay. Ball in from Natel, and look at that for a layoff by Arslan. So cool under pressure. He puts it on a platter for a player with the technical ability of Terry Antonis, who we know can strike them so well from that area of the field. That is a brilliant finish. But the build-up to it, the combination play, and the cool, calm, collected nature of that layoff from Arslan set it up for that man there, Antonis.
Didn't he enjoy it? It's his first goal against Adelaide United for almost 11 years. The last time he scored against the Reds, he was wearing the colours of Sydney FC in February of 2013. And his third of the campaign goes with goals against Macarthur and Western United. Terry Antonis' best football, Mossy. It looks like that. That was amazing.
Well, it's a point to prove, isn't it? Because he's not an automatic starter. Came off the bench in Gosford on the weekend. Gets his start tonight. And then he's some way to put some pressure on your boss to keep you in the starting 11.
Crunching challenge in midfield. Tunnicliffe fell out of the way, but Ryan Kiddo was there to consolidate possession. The good news for Adelaide fans is their record at Amy Park is pretty strong against Melbourne City. They have won 6 times here over the journey. Melbourne City 8 wins, 4 draws. So by no means is going behind a loss sentence for the rest of the evening. Some shaky passing out from the back here. Requires Delyanov to come up and just clean and sharpen up his defence. He's trying to keep a clean sheet for the first time in more than 2 years. Well, that's off the books already after just 6 minutes.
Well, I can't believe what I've just seen from Isaias. He's just put his last 2 passes over the sideline. Yeah. Rare day when you see that again. I'm not sure we've ever seen it in the past from him either. Just wonder if he's coming to grips with playing that central defensive role. But it's nothing less than Melbourne City deserved from the start they put on tonight.
And couldn't have got a move going, and now from the left flank, Allen's cross blocked initially. Plenty of energy coming up from defence though. Johnny Young and Tunnicliffe. Yull, member of the young Socceroos, bright future. Big responsibility now with his team chasing the game. Melbourne City consolidate possession. Here's Curtis Good. With a real burst of acceleration, he's out of, well, the defensive third, and Tolga Arslan left the ball behind.
Well, he's human, Arslan. A rare mistake from him.
Now he'll be determined to make amends. A little shake of the hips has got Tunnicliffe backtracking. Here's Antonis, 1 already. Can he turn provider? Stop there, Natel. And Antonis calls for the ball in the pocket. Natel wants to hit the byline instead. Able to lose Bovalina. And it was right there for McLaren, but he couldn't twist it towards the target. Adelaide sticking like glue to the Melbourne City number 9 and avoiding the tap in for 2. Now Warland. Adelaide under siege at the moment, doing their best to avoid conceding a second.
Siege is the right word. Melbourne City are in the mood tonight. They're in the zone already. once you see Arslan getting on the ball comfortably, Leo Natel getting one-on-one at his players, his defenders, and they're in for a long night, Adelaide, if they can't keep possession of the ball better than what they are so far.
Cause to go and chase here for Halloran, and the ball will hold up on the surface. Ivasuki and Clough in the middle. Clough arriving late. He scored a very noteworthy goal to that very end of Amy Park in the finals a couple of seasons ago, as Bobolina tests out the gloves of Jamie Young. That might have been bending wide regardless.
Yeah, I think just, but that's good from Bobolina. He needed to produce at least a shot on target for his side just to give them a little bit of confidence.
Lively first 10 minutes. We mentioned Lachlan Barr out of the Adelaide United team. Actually, we'll stay with play here because Melbourne City are on the move. No time for this defence to draw breath for Adelaide at the moment. Leo Natel, sweeping cross. Kiddo stoops to the header. Antonis. Saw Talbot making a run down the right. Talbot cuts it back. Ugarkovic. Talbot again. Arslan rides. And he then falls without the header doing too much damage. Ivasuki just trying to create a presence for Adelaide. They can't keep the ball. So Talbot is away to the right flank once again. Ugarkovic. Intercepted by Warland. Isaias out to the left side. As we mentioned, Lachlan Barr, Nick Ansell has been out for some time as well. It's Harry van der Sarg, who's had his injury troubles. And Alexander Popovic seemingly off to the K-League. That's the rumour mill at the moment. There's the shot count, 4-1 after just 11.5 minutes. Halloran. Now Irankunda taking up a very deep position, Nestor Irankunda. A couple of 1-2s. And then Curtis Good, a no-nonsense clearance. Yull finds Halloran. Halloran accelerating. Bobolina calling for the ball at the far post, but I'm not sure Halloran ever got the eyes up to see him. Yull, Irankunda. Passing channel blocked, but he gets a second opportunity to possess the ball. Tunnicliffe. Irankunda. An incisive pass, Kiddo over the head of Ivasuki. Bobolina unable to bring the ball under his control, and now Leo Natel. A lightning counter-attack is away. He just decelerates ever so slightly, steadies and finds Arslan. Now Galloway directing traffic. Ugarkovic. Natel. Leo Natel. Antonis went to ground. 50-50 ball. Play continues. Arslan. And now Ugarkovic. Parry. It's there to be cleared. And ultimately Delyanov out onto his own work.
Well, he did. It was at a nagging length for him, and hence the fumble. Parrying it so he could pick it up on the second attempt. You can see there, Ugarkovic doesn't get a lot of power behind it. It does land at a nagging length for Delyanov to wrap his hands around it first time. Gee, there's times here, we're only almost 15 minutes in, where Melbourne City are just toying with Adelaide in possession, finding their triangles, moving the ball quickly, one touch, two touch.
Natel has been key to breaking the lines and driving them up the field. The confidence is high. Two back heels. Antonis matching the work of Natel. Can the cool school have a cutting edge? It won't here. That pass misguided. Straight to Kiddo. Now Halloran. Kiddo calls for Iran Kunda to present for the ball. There's still Iran Kunda drifting central, and he's able to draw a foul out of Stephen Ogakovic.
What about that from Natel and Terry Antonis? A bit of an expression session on his near side. As we see the replay of the foul, Ogakovic on Iran Kunda. Do you reckon Melbourne City are happy to be home?
Well, they have looked like a team that has gelled together immaculately in this first 15 minutes. The understanding of the players about where the runs are going and linking up the passing. Adelaide have got to keep them accountable here by asking a question or two to test the defence. Maybe Zach Clough can come up with the right ball to do exactly that. Straight onto the head of Galloway. Halloran. Now Tunnicliffe. Clough again. The outside of the right foot ball. Straight out for a goal kick.
Well, that really is symptomatic of the first 15 minutes for Adelaide. Just passes going astray, no intensity on the ball. Finding it hard to get close to Melbourne City when they're in possession. And let's not forget there's a certain player, Hamza Saki, who just left over the last few days. He was becoming a very key midfielder. So to be able to bring a Ogakovic and a Antonis in shows the depth that Melbourne City have.
There's the form line coming in at 8-1. A reminder of what Melbourne City can do when they're truly on song, when the opposition are off the boil. There's no suggestion yet that Adelaide are totally off the ball, but you're right to highlight some of the loose passing. Aussie that needs to tighten up if they're to find a way back into the game. And more importantly, to stop presenting opportunities to Melbourne City to keep attacking them. Hall. Now good. Adelaide just trying to hurry the passes. Arslan nearly left the ball behind. Yull is going to take this all the way up to Jamie Young. And the turnover was nearly there. Tunnicliffe couldn't control it. And Iran Kunda couldn't get there before the line.
I mentioned the profligacy with the ball by Adelaide because it's very rarely do you see Isaias put the ball over the sideline twice. Zach Clough completely overhit a pass in the top third that goes over the byline. They're little things that you don't often see from Adelaide, and particularly those two players. If they can stay in the contest and not concede again, they can build their way into this fight.
Grab over the shoulder of McLaren. Referee gives advantage. Ogakovic. Mazzeo. Lofts across as Mazzeo, and it requires Bobolina to clear. Natel chases it down in the corner. Antonis to Arslan. Hall now, as far forward as we've seen him in open play. Garkovic, clever cross, and Delyanov, a very tall, rangy goalkeeper, able to pluck Jamie McLaren's header away from any danger.
He did the right thing there, McLaren, just trying to lob the goalkeeper from close quarters. Had to generate all his own power. The cross was lofted. As we see it swung in from the right-hand side. Might have just been offside, that left shoulder as well. So probably wouldn't have counted, but Delyanov was up to the task regardless.
Adelaide have quickly moved the ball down for a throw-in at their attacking end. Up and under, and very difficult for Giuseppe Bobolina to do anything with. 19 years old, first full season of A-League men's football. He's been prominent part of Carl Beard's team, 13th appearance today. Again, no thoughts of wasting time from Jamie Young. His team might be in a 1-0 lead, but Sydney have identified a chance to really run Adelaide off their feet here. They're keeping the tempo high at every opportunity. Flag is up here, so they're going to yield possession. Joey Lee, the assistant referee, had the flag up. Second ball here gives an opportunity to Tunnicliffe. Clough, little nutmeg on Natel, sends it out to Halloran. Halloran against Galloway, can't get the better of him. Clough. And Natel determined not to be beaten in the same phase of play for a second time. Natel scored 2 goals in that 8-1 against Brisbane Roar, hasn't scored in any other game in the league this season. Here he is attempting to win a header here against Bobolina.
It is often the way as well, Teo, when you have a 13-day break from playing, you just lose a little bit of rhythm, a few cobwebs, no matter how hard you train, how many training games you have in those 13 days. You do just take your time sometimes to find your rhythm again. Adelaide are fighting for that at the moment.
Tunnicliffe forces the ball to Bobolina. This is all happening in close quarters, and eventually Galloway wins it for Melbourne City. Bugarkovic opts to go back to Good. An aggressive pass didn't come off this time. Iran Kunda can lead a counter-attack. Nesta Iran Kunda, and was able to produce the burst of speed to get past Antonis, who stuck to his task once, twice, and put it out for a throw.
Well, it's the wonder kid of today against the wonder kid of yesteryear in Terry Antonis. It wasn't that long ago. He was the player on everyone's lips in Australian football.
Kiddo fashions across. Iwasuki with it all to do. Brings it down. Iwasuki surrounded by defenders. And his shot was blocked by Good. Bobolina. It rears up. Iwasuki made it awkward for Jamie Young. And he's able to bring the ball under his control. Credit to Hiroshi Iwasuki there. Tough situation to get a high percentage shot away.
Yeah, it was. He was surrounded by blue shirts. The form he's in. Wouldn't have surprised me to see him find the back of the net. Iwasuki. In the end, Melbourne City defended the situation well. They got bodies in the way.
Now he's looking to try and press Melbourne City here along with his Adelaide midfield. Jamie McLaren has got a cause to go and chase.
That was fantastic from Arslan there. We know how good he is on the ball, but his organisation to get Melbourne City set to defend the ball from deep in Adelaide's half. Outstanding, talking to players around him, making sure they're in the right position as well. Great leadership.
A bit of a contrast in how aggressive the two teams are. Adelaide far more patient, happy to play the ball around in the territory Melbourne City will get them, which is now starting to become smaller and smaller as the press ventures into the penalty area. Isaias and Tunnicliffe. Decisions have got to be good. Execution has to be better. Yull. Masuki coming back to help out. Adelaide stringing passes together. And eventually they play Yull into a yard of space and he can distribute. Over the head of Galloway. Adelaide have worked it out well. Clough. First time ball. And they managed to turn defence into attack after a seemingly hair-raising press.
Well, that's an attacking option at the end of fantastic build-up from Adelaide. They invited the press, they played through it. Look at that for a ball from Johnny Yull. Magnificent sweeping switch of play into the path of Clough, who delivered a ball into a decent area.
Here is Yull again, buzzing around. Tunnicliffe. Clough. Underlapping run from Halloran. The cutback. Yull. He's got a yard of space to go. And the bending left-footed shot just kept rising. Yet to open his A-League men's account, Yull, but he scored some spectacular goals at NPL level in South Australia wearing those Adelaide colours, many of them from distance.
The ball just didn't come to him quick enough. He had to wait for it rather than being able to take it on the front foot. With his first touch out in front, and he was always searching for the power, which included in the end too much elevation on the shot.
Galloway really testing Adelaide with his runs down this left flank, and Clough is now turning it into a more even duel. Gets the better of him here. Ben Abraham just reinforcing that the ball is to be placed where the foul was given away. Absolutely no arguments there with the shirt stretching like that. Adelaide quick free kick taken, and a switch of flanks has Kiddo accelerating down the left channel. So trying to stick with him. Halloran. When he misses Yull with the pass. Antonis. Leonatel leaves the ball with Tolga Arslan. The return pass threaded through. Leonatel wasn't able to free the feet before Isais came back to make it a 2-on-1.
You've just got to sit back and enjoy Tolga Arslan when he's on the ball. Look at this. He just delays, and then plays the pass straight into the path of Natel. And he waited for Natel. He waited to get the eyes and know the angle of Natel's run there. And perfectly weighted pass.
I mean, so perfectly. He basically played it into the area where Bovalina was running, but because his head was turned backtracking, he didn't see that it was there. Marvellous ball. The result is a corner. McLaren makes a near post run, but the ball is going back post. And that is where the header skims off and will not run out over on the right-hand side. Great hustle from Mazzeo to keep it in. Second ball. Bit of a moonraker. Curtis Good can't bring it down to his team's advantage. Galloway fashions a ball back into the middle, but Bovalina's got his keeper on. Galloway once again. And on that occasion, McLaren gave himself up coming back from an offside position. Yull to Iran Kunda against Talbot, who was able to get a boot in. Arslan with space to turn and face. Doesn't like his options. Leonatel can't get the better of Bovalina here, and he apologises to his teammates in the penalty area. Bides his time. Arslan. Lugarkovic, we've seen him shoot once from distance already today. Mazzeo tries to drop the shoulder on Kiddo, who was having none of it. Deflected cross. Ultimately, it'll be a goal kick to Adelaide United to try and clear their lines.
Gee, Talbot is taking it personally on Iran Kunda tonight. Every time Iran Kunda's touched the ball, Talbot's been in his face, giving him no space. It'll be interesting to see how Iran Kunda handles that and manages the situation. Whether he goes into other areas of the pitch looking for the ball.
Right now he's hugging the left touchline. Talbot's giving him a couple of metres here, daring Ibasuki to play the pass, and that is indeed where it goes. And the duel resumes right on cue. Iran Kunda breaks to his left and deflected into the side netting. It'll be a corner.
Well, that's the first time that Talbot's not gone on the front foot. Iran Kunda's taken the invitation gratefully to run at him. He's still recovered in time to deflect it to safety. But that's what Iran Kunda wants. He wants to be able to run at players.
When it catches that deflection, it can go anywhere. So fortunately, as far as Melbourne City are concerned, corner kick, Adelaide's first of the game. Ibisuki, the presence at the near post, and he glances a header, touched on the line and cleared away. Antonis scoring at one end, sweeping it out at the other, and Jamie Young with a point-blank save.
What a save that is from Jamie Young. That is brilliant reflexes. Look at this. You would have seen it very late. That is an outstanding save. Ibisuki gets good contact on that. The pace of the ball's already there from the delivery as well.
Consecutive corners, and this time Jamie Young's out of his line, batting it away from Ibisuki. Second ball though, and this time it's Warland, but he can't quite get the shape or the power on it. Jamie Young clears the lines. Mazzeo wins a throw. You got to say on the follow-up there, Giuseppe Bovalina was very close to his second A-League goal as well. Antonis, the goal scorer, did well to make sure that Jamie Young's save wasn't in vain.
This is a brilliant save. Look at that. He hasn't got a lot of time. It looks easier there in slow motion. I can guarantee you it's not.
38 years young, Jamie Young in his 213th A-League men's game. Arslan, difficult for McLaren to control at about neck level. His header ultimately tailed back out of the box. Just over half an hour gone. Terry Antonis' early goal, the difference between the teams. It's been a very lively attacking game. Absolutely no thoughts of Melbourne City sitting back on their advantage either. A goal that on the live table would take them into 5th place, tied on 21 points with Central Coast and 3rd placed Western Sydney Wanderers, but with an inferior goal difference to the other two. Tunnicliffe. Braced for contact. Yao commands the ball. Ambitious volley on. And interesting backward sliding pass here from Antonis. Missed in the air, allowed to bounce. Halloran first to react. And Iran Kunda can take the ball and go. Has got Kiddo motoring on the outside. Iran Kunda wants to do it himself. He can't get a shooting channel open. Tunnicliffe very crowded at the top of the box. Iran Kunda made some space, as did Yao, and it was all closed down by Curtis Good. Melbourne City starving Adelaide of room, getting into a couple of dangerous positions. Isaias this time puts it on the head of Talbot. Yao combining on the left. Back heel. And cleared by Talbot. Adelaide slowly but surely building pressure in the game. Lock tackle, a good one from Ugarkovic. And he launches a counter, Mazzeo. For the run of Togay Arslan, and he's brought to ground. Zach Clough protests his innocence, but the free kick is given.
Yeah, you're right. Adelaide are starting to claw their way back into the contest, Teo. We just go past the half-hour mark. Arslan just lulled Zach Clough into a false sense of security there. Slowed down to fast to go quick. Drew the foul expertly.
From the centre of defence to the head of Kiddo. Melbourne City get to enjoy some time in their attacking half. Ugarkovic turns it back. To the right flank for Callum Talbot. Return ball doesn't stick. Iran Kunda rolls away from Mazzeo. cross-field pass. And Bovalina a chance against Natel. Now Tunnicliffe in space. Back out to Iran Kunda. And the first-time header just caught out Hiroshi Ibasuki. Body language of Ben Halloran in the middle, perhaps suggesting that none of his teammates were expecting that sort of a move. And now, first card of the game. And Tunnicliffe is not happy with the protection from further up the pitch as he becomes the first player into the book. So 35th minute brings us the first yellow card.
Tell you, there's some interesting statistics for all Melbourne City's domination in the opening 35 minutes or so. 7 shots apiece, 3 shots on target. Melbourne City 2 for Adelaide. Adelaide have had more shots inside the box, 5-4.
Melbourne City had a bit of a cutting edge at the end of this move. Mazzeo knocks it back. Yull. Then Kiddo forced to just bombs away.
So statistically, Adelaide are in the contest. Hasn't been the most fluent first 35 minutes of the game for them.
As the side of the pitch Melbourne City are favouring. More than half their attacks going down the left at the moment. Chopping, chasing, but Isaias has got him covered. Bovalina. Halloran making a run ahead of the ball. Bovalina obliges, but Curtis Good just outpointing the Adelaide man.
He's been very good in this first half, Curtis Good. Not just defensively, but he's run the ball into midfield a couple of times, committed defenders.
Have a run from the throw by Clough. And it's sat up teasingly in the 6-yard box. It's cleared away by Jordan Hall. Clough wants a corner. And the end result is a goal kick. He was just able to really outfox everyone there on the end of a long throw.
Yeah, fantastic first touch. Not easy to execute. The second touch wasn't far away from finding the right foot of his teammate, Ibasuki, I should say.
Now, we hadn't had another look at the first booking of the game, Mossy. Any arguments there for Tunnicliffe, or fair enough?
No, I think that's fair enough. He can be frustrated, and I think the frustration is towards his teammates for not blocking the passing lanes into Arslan's feet.
It's not been the most combative role yet from Tunnicliffe, so he had to make that decision to apply a tackle. City on the move. Arslan. Leo Natel bending it, didn't quite curve back enough. Got the crowd interested, and Delyanov was at full stretch.
Yeah, good for the cameras from Delyanov there, but was never really going to rustle the back of his net. But Arslan again, central. Good weight on his pass. Natel had eyes only for that far corner from the moment he received the ball. Didn't quite make the angle work.
It's worth remembering that James Delyanov was on the books of Melbourne City from 2017 to 2019. So, under 17 Australian international goalkeeper. Relishing the chance to play some first-team football with Joe Gauci away with the Socceroos. Here's Iran Kunda. Like his first significant venture down the left in this half. He had the entire Melbourne City defence scrambling back to stop him finding a teammate.
Oh, he's just a joy to watch in full flight, isn't he? When he gets at players.
Clough. Bovalina on his own, and neither a teammate nor the net under significant threat.
There's still a long way for Iran Kunda to go with his complete game, of course, but when he's at his best running at defenders, he's so devastating.
Natel thought he was fouled. The referee did not oblige. Now the whistle goes. Very late call. Adelaide a little confused. Zayas on the scene protesting, saying, whistle or don't.
Well, it's clearly a foul from Zach Clough, returning the favour from earlier. I don't know what the complaints are about.
Given Adelaide were in possession, maybe it was just a very loose interpretation of advantage. Still, all's well for Melbourne City as far as they're concerned, and the free kick doesn't come to much. Ibasuki. Curtis Good. Arslan. Just over 5 minutes of regulation until half-time. It's flown by. Melbourne City would love the safety net of a second, though. Adelaide have shown enough to suggest that one may not be enough tonight. There's the XG tally. I can tell you that the XG on the only goal we've seen was 0.035. So, about 3 and 100 behind the back of the net. Maybe better than 3 and 100 strike rate if you're Terry Antonis. Got his technique. Isaias. Confident it was going to be a goal kick. Leo Natel, not so much. In the blink of an eye, Isaias is back in possession over a live ball. Here's Tunnicliffe. Clough. Kiddo. Pass to no one in particular. Hall brings it down. Iran Kunda was treading on his toes at the last second, but couldn't win the ball. Now City through McLaren. Arslan. Running at the defence, who are backtracking desperately here and doing a good job of it. Warland with the intercept. Now Yull, bit of end-to-end at the time in the first half where fatigue starts to set in and decisions become all important. Iran Kunda, case in point. Shoots and hits the side netting, and that noise of the net rattling we've become so used to for Nestor Iran Kunda, but this time it was the wrong side of it.
And that sight of him dropping the shoulder and just cutting inside onto that right foot, that deadly right foot. He finds his half a yard, even a quarter of a yard to get the strike away. This will be a great angle. And he's not far away, although Jamie Young, I think, had his near post covered.
He's scored in his last 2 games against Melbourne City. Iran Kunda, that spectacular free kick in Adelaide last time they met, but also the game before. In his young career, it makes Melbourne City his best A-League opponent as far as scoring goals. Talbot. Mazzeo. Galloway. The goal scorer Antonis to Arslan, shut down immediately. Ibasuki, slick touch. And Iran Kunda, 2 on 3. Adelaide outnumbered, but Iran Kunda can bring Halloran in, and Halloran didn't quite get the angle right. Went for placement over power, but Jamie Young had the answers.
Well, it was a decent strike from Halloran. He had no option, really, unless he was to turn back out, because a little bit surprising that Iran Kunda played the ball in behind. Great way to pass. But he didn't carry on with his run. There could have been a delivery from Halloran. There could have been scraps from Jamie Young. Nonetheless, a good transition moment for Adelaide.
Ben Halloran, 7 goals head-to-head against Melbourne City. It's his favourite opponent, 3 better than the next most, which is Central Coast at 4. So if Melbourne City are sick of the sight of him scoring against them, there's a reason they're his most prolific opponent. Mazzeo did well to control a high ball. Arslan, Natel has to go and chase the ball wide. Getting a little impatient with Melbourne City's build-up, and a wild collision here. Ignore the ball in the net. Whistle had well and truly gone. Zach Clough was found. Okay, Arslan goes and apologises to his opposing playmaker.
Ben Halloran is trying to get Natel booked for playing at the ball well after the whistle as he puts it in the back of the Adelaide net. Referee Ben Abram having none of it. Although I don't think we'll get away with a repeat offence.
So we ticked a good stoppage at the end of the first half. Kunda at the very last minute has switched flanks over to the right side for the first time. See if that's a new look that Melbourne City has to deal with, because he's in possession right here. Iran Kunda draws the save out of Jamie Young.
I like it. I like it a lot from Calviet, no doubt. He's given Iran Kunda the nod to go in search of the ball. Don't just stay high and wide. Don't just stay on the left-hand side if it's not working for us. Let's change it up a little bit. He's out there now. That's the second time in a few minutes that Iran Kunda got on the ball and caused some real issues.
He's spending a lot of time on the ball. He's had shots, he's had looks. The only caveat is they've all been either on tight angles or under pressure or both. And a back pass here, nearly a gift for Arslan and Delyanov and Isaias. They have a conversation and say, do not do that to me again, please.
Well, it was under hit. Delyanov, I think, does a fantastic job here. He's got no option but to stay big and put his body on the line.
Adelaide arguably finishing the half the stronger. A chance like that for Melbourne City to make it 2, but Adelaide's build-up play and their general threat is definitely on show. I think it would be a reasonably optimistic Carl Viet in the rooms at half-time as the whistle goes. So an early goal of great quality from Terry Antonis is the only one so far. Not for a lack of attacking intent, though, between these two teams. Antonis' third of the season. He's probably got 2 contenders for goal of the year already, and we're barely at the halfway point as he discusses matters with Jamie McLaren. Adelaide in need of a response. They've had shots, they've had chances, but they're yet to find the back of the net. We'll find out if they can muster a goal or more in the second half. At Amy Park at half-time, the score is Melbourne City 1, Adelaide United 0. Stay with us on Paramount Plus, the halftime show. All the highlights on the other side of this short break. welcome to the Hungry Jacks halftime show. This was Jamie Young making a point-blank save in the first half, protecting a clean sheet. Hasn't kept one in the new year. The last was on December the 23rd, and that was a vital moment in the first half. Melbourne City leading 1-0. Let's get into the Hungry Jacks halftime show. Phil Moss joins me for it. And, well, amidst the tumbling rain, Mossy, we were thoroughly entertained in that first half. We may have only had the one goal, but there was no shortage of attacking chances as both teams really went at each other, and we'll see it now on the Harvey Norman highlights.
Yeah, that's right. I thought Melbourne City came out of the blocks really well, especially down this left-hand side. Natel and Arslan, and look at that for a setup for Terry Antonis. I mean, he's got to do the rest, obviously, with a fantastic strike, but it's put on a plate for him. All he's got to do is get his technique right, and we know that he's got that in his locker. Look at that reverse swerve that was always curling away from Delyanov's outstretched right arm. Fantastic goal, and nothing less than they deserved. And then Adelaide, I thought, started to claw their way back into the contest around the 20th minute mark, and they're still in the contest.
So that was Terry Antonis with his third goal of the season. The match stats, well, Melbourne City not possession dominant as we've come to know them at times. Adelaide just shading it. What else do the numbers tell you, Mossy?
Well, that Adelaide's expected goals are, higher than Melbourne City's, which is interesting. And I think Iran Kunda has contributed to that. He's been dangerous. He's really come into his own in the last sort of 5, 10, 15 minutes of that first half. And shots at goal as well. So Adelaide, the statistics are showing that even though Melbourne City have got the lead and started much stronger, Adelaide is still in the fight. So
as we look at the Adelaide chances from that first half, their bench, a lot of youngsters. Austin Ayubi, who did score against Melbourne City in the Australia Cup, is waiting there. Luka Jovanovic, another young striker. How long do you stick with the current setup? What minute do you think Carl Veart is looking to introduce new faces, given that they really did get better as the half went on and probably bought themselves all a bit more time in the second half? That's right. That's exactly right. And I think the way they finished the first half will give Carl Veart confidence that this 11 can go out there and get themselves back on the scoreboard and into the contest on the scoreboard, as I should say. But certainly he's got a little bit of firepower off the bench. As I said, Jovanovic is one that really sticks out. Ayubi, they're both capable of coming on and doing something, as we see that chance for Halloran on his left foot. He got some good power behind it, never enough to really worry Jamie Young, but it's this man here, Iran Kunda. He really started to run at the Melbourne City defence in those last 10-15 minutes, and he can cause all the trouble, as we know. Paramount Plus Player Index, Jamie Young, no surprise, in second. Our goal scorer, Terry Antonis. Top thoughts on the individual standouts? Yeah, I think Antonis is good for that. There's no doubt about it. I think it's probably between him and Arslan for top spot. Jamie Young certainly deserves a call out and to be in the top three. I mean, that save was absolutely outstanding and kept his side in the lead. Yull has been impressive for me. He's a couple of switches of play and he's been busy in that first half. So overall, I think the standings are about right. A-League action continues tomorrow with the Big Blue. Let's get a preview from Robbie Thompson and Archie Thompson.
Thanks, Teo. Yeah, we're already looking forward to the Big Blue tomorrow night, the 64th edition of the Big Blue. Sydney actually just hold the edge in the head-to-head record, but Melbourne Victory already with 2 wins out of 2 this season. Who better to ask about Sydney FC than Melbourne Victory legend Archie Thompson? Archie, Sydney, 4 wins out of their last 5, scoring goals for fun, but they need to go on with it now. They need a big scalp, don't they? And who bigger for Sydney FC than Melbourne Victory?
Yeah, well, especially doing it at AAMI Park, where I think Melbourne Victory are 3 wins from 5. They haven't lost this season, and they've won the previous 2. I think the last match they played at AAMI Park was 3-0, and Melbourne Victory were just dominant that whole game. So I've seen so much improvement from Sydney FC, especially the way that they press up front. Patrick Wood was a substitute. Well, he started the game last time against Jets. Whether he keeps it, Pello or puts Fabio in, only time will tell. But I think the key introduction has been Mac Burgess. He got 2. We saw the shuffle, mate. I hope we'll not see him out at AAMI Park.
Well, who's going to be shuffling for Melbourne Victory then? We know Bruno's still not there, but Zinedine Mashash has been informed. They need a couple of goals though, but they're still undefeated. 13 matches this season. It's been a great start.
It has been a great start, but what I will say in the last couple of weeks, Popovich has been, and I would be disappointed with the way that they finished games. They had a 1-0 win against lead against Central Coast Mariners. They copped up a late goal again against Wellington, winning 1-0. So ideally, they should be at least 6 points ahead. I know that the goals are drying up because we don't have that Bruno Fornaroli or really, I guess, a number 9. We've been substituted with Economides, who is a different type of player, maybe not the hold-up type that likes to make runs in behind. So look, all the ingredients are there, Robbie, for a fantastic game. That's all I can say.
Always a huge game, and especially with Melbourne Victory undefeated, there's no other side in the comp that would like to inflict that first loss of the campaign than Sydney FC Toa. All the action tomorrow night.
Thank you, Robbie. Yes, I feel like Tintin. Thank you to Thompson and Thompson. The Big Blue coming up 7:15 Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time tomorrow. Do not miss it. It's going to be a cracker. That's been the Hungry Jacks halftime show. And speaking of big matches, don't forget the FA Cup continues on Paramount Plus. This weekend, it's Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham Hotspur taking on Manchester City. Welcome back to Amy Park. No, do not be alarmed. The lights are simply giving us a bit of a light show at half-time. and Melbourne City back out on the pitch. Adelaide about to emerge into the blinking situation here, and they currently trail Melbourne City by a goal to nil, so they need to spark up and switch the lights on in attack in this second half. Let's see why, due to them trailing to this very goal. Came in just the 5th minute of the game. Terry Antonis' first time strike, very sweetly, almost into the top corner. Mossy had found the side netting, and that is the difference between the two teams.
Oh, a goal worthy of any stage in world football. Absolutely brilliant strike from Terry Antonis, brilliantly laid on by Arslan, and a goal worthy of putting any team ahead.
And so that was the only goal, not for a lack of trying from Adelaide. They are going to take action here, though. Ethan Allegich, we are going to see him for the first time since the 8th of January, when he only got 7 minutes against MacArthur, so considerably more game time for the 20-year-old here. And also Luke Duzel, a Victorian, coming back to his hometown. He was actually in the Melbourne City youth system from 2017 to 2019, so could he come back to haunt one of the clubs of his development? Double change for the Reds. And Adelaide will take kickoff with those new faces out on the pitch here at the start of the second 45. So the two players replaced. Ryan Tunnicliffe had the only yellow card of the first half, and Johnny Yull. As the second half kicks off, Adelaide starting the second 45, 1-0 down to Melbourne City in this round 14 Isuzu Ute A-League men's game. Phil Moss, a bit surprising that Adelaide have renovated their central midfield. Yull was one of the leading players on the Paramount Plus player index, and Tunnicliffe may have been on a booking, but certainly wasn't treading a fine line for getting sent off.
No, but I can understand maybe some fresh legs in the middle of the park for Carl Viet. It was an area that Melbourne City were overrunning them a little bit. So not overly surprised. I thought he might have given the players that finished the first half the first 10 minutes to find an equaliser, but he's acted at half-time.
Confirmation there of those changes that went through. Melbourne City, no changes to the team that started the match. Of course, it's been a turbulent week for Aurelio Vidmar, losing Hamza Saki, who's returned to Europe, and even though he hadn't signed a contract extension, that's now been mutually terminated. There are rumours swirling. High-profile agent John Grimord saying a former Socceroo is going to be on the way into Melbourne City. So the transfer market never sleeps in the A-League. Little block tackle in midfield. Leon Patel almost stealing a march. Back pass is going to tail its way down to James Delianov, who clears not quite to halfway. Curtis Good up with a strong header.
You're going to leave us in suspense, Teo?
Well, the leading candidate, I don't want to steal anyone's thunder, is that it's a former Melbourne Victory man, Jimmy Jago, that could be making his way back, but I'm sure that those in the know will break the news accordingly.
John Grimord is definitely in the know. Very well respected player agent, Australian football and overseas, of course.
Isaias, recast as a centre-back. Lineups are appearing at the foot of your screen if you've only just joined us during the half-time break. So with Tunnicliffe subbed off, no one's on a card. And no injury concerns of note. A very brisk first half. We didn't actually have the trainer called once for either team. So to the best of our knowledge, no one's in any trouble. And it sets up this game quite nicely.
Well, in the early stages, it looks as though Ethan Allegich is a straight swap for Johnny Yull. That left-hand side of the midfield three, and Luke Duzel has come in as a straight swap for Ryan Tunnicliffe. So no change to the system at this stage.
Ball skims on here. McLaren challenges Warland, and he's able to get to the ball and put it out. First appearance since the 4th of January for Ben Warland tonight, so he's been waiting for 3 weeks to get back into not just the team, but on the pitch. Here's Togay Arslan. And now Ugarkovic. Mazeo. To the top of the box, and first time shot from Arslan, high degree of difficulty, and sailing out. Togay Arslan this season, he has 4 goals already. It's the most he's scored since netting 6 times in the 2010-11 campaign when he was playing in the Bundesliga 2 at Alemannia Aachen. So he's already getting up into rare territory for contribution to scoring in more than a decade.
He's been a wonderful addition to the A-League. There's no doubt about that. I put him in the top echelon of foreign imports. It's how quickly he's settled as well.
Bovalina drifting central, invited to shoot, was given all the time in the world. And even though he does have a goal this season against MacArthur, wasn't able to double his tally there. So an energetic first 5 minutes. Adelaide looking far more switched on and composed than they were out of the blocks at the start of the game. Just conceding the first goal of the match, but looking very scratchy. And then once they switched on, they have been a match for Melbourne City ever since. Thus the ebb and flow and exchange of chances in the game. It's a beautiful move from Bovalina to lose his markers in midfield. Now Clough over on the right. First time ball tumbling into the box. Alagage, first time volley, and did not dip it.
It was a little bit risky, but Curtis Good did well there to get something on the cross from Clough. He was headed for a dangerous area. Curtis Good knew that. Just see him with the back heel and Terry Antonis to help it on, which put it at an awkward height for the strike on goal.
Isaias with the back pass. Delianov clears first time. Antonis. Leo Natel. Jamie Young right up the middle. Garkovic presented for the ball. Curtis Good, now Galloway. Arslan, plenty of trust that his defender would be in the right spot for the little scooped back heel.
Oh, it's just great awareness. He knew that he was being closed down. Pulled out one of his tricks, and he's got plenty of them.
Garkovic, and now Mazzeo, and not on the same wavelength as his teammates with that pass. Ruffle shaking the head from the 18-year-old, making his 9th appearance the A-League men's, all having come this season. Here's Halloran and Curtis Good, shoulder to shoulder. Melbourne City throw. Halloran protests his case in vain.
Yeah, there was a little bit of added force there from Curtis Good. Some will argue it's shoulder to shoulder. You can see Ben Halloran's argument.
Kunda. Kiddo for company, but all the defenders want Iran Kunda. There's a reason for that. He sprays the shot and he knows that that's probably the best chance he's had today.
He just gets quicker with the ball at his feet, doesn't he? Look at him running at the Melbourne City defence. Talbot drops off. I think in the end it was Jordan Hall who just did enough to deflect the shot wide.
Was telling that Kiddo made a dummy run and couldn't draw a defender. None of the defenders were leaving Iran Kunda. Here comes the resulting corner. Young out, emphatic, knocked over Wallen, ball back in from Alagic, and this time caught by the Melbourne City keeper.
I think most defenders know in that situation Iran Kunda's 99.9% of the time going to take the defenders on and shoot a goal.
day when it's Iran Kunda running at the defenders and Garen Quoll breaking off on the dummy run, but it's not a dummy run because he presents just as much of a threat. It's the Socceroos in the Asian Cup at the moment. Already through to the knockout rounds. Aaron Kunda up for the header, full of energy. Adelaide chasing, pursuing this equaliser. Melbourne City with the answers in defence so far. Leonatel. Oh, numbers were lining up in the middle there. Melbourne City had committed players forward, but there was no end product on the cross.
It's almost a carbon copy of the other side just a few moments earlier with Ugarkovic and Mazzio. Just getting their wires crossed Melbourne City. You'd certainly get the feeling the game's not done and dusted. There's more goals in this one.
Ball stalls at the feet of Jamie Young. Now, a little dicey. Iwasuki is just keeping it interesting for Melbourne City. So Young goes for distance, but tough pass to control for Togai Arslan, and Adelaide are back in possession. Clough, I think he was trying to glide that to his own advantage, but just overhit it. And now, moving through midfield, Ugarkovic can take his pick, left or right. He goes for Mazzeo. Mazzeo cutting in. Oh, and it stayed straight as an arrow rather than bend around. Ben Mazzeo showing us what he can do.
Fantastic action from the young winger as he cuts inside Ryan Kiddo. You can see he's just trying to get his toe around that to get a little bit more bend on it. In the end, too much power, not enough bend. But a great action from the youngster.
Tell hugging the line to keep that in, but only to the advantage of Adelaide. Melbourne City have not beaten Adelaide inside 90 minutes since February 2021, 8 games ago. The only win in that time was the extra time win in the 2022 semi-final. Jamie McLaren was prominent that day. He might be prominent again here. Mazzeo misses McLaren with the return ball.
I think he was in two minds there, whether to try and pick out McLaren or Arslan on the far post. In the end, he did neither. The ball just didn't sit for Jamie McLaren. You could see he was trying to take it in his stride, but he had to stop, prop, and bring his teammate into the game.
Now from the right, cross popped in. It was Duzel, unable to find a teammate. Natel. McLaren a lone hand up top. Kiddo. Now Galloway getting forward. Sizes up the Adelaide defence. Natel. Leaves it with Togai Arslan. Arslan, well, it's a couple of long shots outside the box from him in this half, neither of which have troubled the frame of the goal.
They're not going to be on his highlights reel, are they? Those two certainly doesn't take away from the quality player that he is. I'm sure for both efforts he'd like his time back again. Someone who doesn't get a lot of headlines, Scott Galloway, he gets through a mountain of work.
And on the move again down the right flank. Alagic arriving in the middle. Knocked it away from Iran Kunda. Iran Kunda calls for the ball back at the edge of the box, but Ugarkovic would have heard it in his ear, knew where the ball was going. Now Mazzio trying to escape. Talbot. Getting closer to the hour mark. Adelaide made a double sub at half-time. Melbourne City yet to turn to their bench. Talbot tucks it inside. Pass was just a little slow moving. Adelaide, well, able to seize upon it. This is Iran Kunda. And we're going to see Andrew Nabbout coming on. He'll replace Leonatel here. Andrew Nabbout loves playing Adelaide United. 8 goals head-to-head. The next best, just 4 goals. And he's done that against 5 other teams. So Adelaide United and Andrew Nabbout, he will have been relishing this opportunity to get on and have a run at them. Just 2 appearances this season, hasn't scored since March of 2023. And who was it against? You guessed it, Adelaide.
Oh, it's great to see Andrew Nabbout back playing for Melbourne City. He was a real loss, not just to Melbourne City, but the A-League. He had that injury a while ago now. He certainly came on at half-time against the Mariners on the weekend and really made a difference, although his side ended up coming away with the win. Really gave them some thrust down the right-hand side.
Natel was such a difference maker in that first 15 minutes. And then perhaps diminishing returns as the game went on. So Nabbout, fresh legs, new ideas, and straight into the action here. But Bovalina has done well to hold him off. And Arslan as well. An enterprising run from Bovalina. Youngsters combining as Aligic driving forward. And now Iran Kunda. Can he be the finisher? Headed away. Crucial defending. The follow-up from Halloran is driven over the bar. And there are few things more daunting in the A-League than the full force of a Nestor Iran Kunda's shot right to the head. And that was defended effectively.
Jordan Hall does really well here because he stays big. He knows the ball's headed straight for his noggin. And he knows he can't pull out, of course. But he just adjusts ever so slightly as well to make sure he gets his head behind the ball. So who knows where it's going if it misses a big defender's head.
Doesn't play much in the A-League men's team, Jordan Hall. Just his 2nd appearance of the season. Just his 8th career. But they rate him, they need him.
That's really good from Callum Talbot there, the way he played his team out from the back. Full of energy, smart passing.
And now the fresh legs of Andrew Nabbout off the bench. Doesn't fancy the shot. Ugarkovic. Now Mazzeo! The bottom left corner was begging for the ball to nestle, and he just puts it wide. He's asking for a corner kick. 2 chances in this half for Ben Mazzeo, neither scored.
Well, you see here, he's just got to wait for the ball. Instead of being able to take it on the front foot and moving forward towards the target, he's got to wait for the pass from Ugarkovic. The weight was all right. It was just the direction of the pass that needed to be out in front of him. And then he had to generate his power. Big chance gone begging.
It will be a big mountain to climb for Adelaide if Melbourne City go 2-0 up here. And unlike the first half, they are just starting to manage the game a little bit more, take their time. First half, the tempo was pretty much high and relentless no matter what. Now they are starting to be a bit more measured in their approach.
It's just such a game of inches, football. And Ugarkovic will know, had he put the ball out in front of Mazzeo on that occasion, the young winger's then got a choice. He can either take it first time or he can take his touch with momentum, pick his spot.
Fluff. Aligic. Iran Kunda from central position. Halloran to Iran Kunda. He's got the entire defence waiting on his next move. He's able to fashion a cross that was too close to the keeper.
And just a touch too early for Ibasuki as well. He was lurking with intent, but he couldn't get there in time for Iran Kunda's early cross. There's questions being asked at both ends of the pitch.
Doesn't like his options. Neither does Wallen, so Adelaide being curtailed at the moment. Ibasuki, the centre forward, dragged all the way into defensive midfield, but that might free Adelaide to break down the right. beaten to the ball. Naboot.
I don't think it'll be long before we see Calvert go to his bench, and it may just be Jovanovic in search of that equaliser. Ibasuki, to be fair, there you go. Ibasuki, to be fair, just hasn't had too much of the rub of the green tonight.
Jamie Young with an up and under clearance. First at Adelaide. It's there to be won. Galloway wrestled back into position. Now Warland. Antonis. Kick between the two teams. Now Aliage puts it on the ground. Clough. Iran Kunda. Still Iran Kunda. And blocked away. Melbourne City got bodies in the road. Talbot and Jordan Hall, and then Iran Kunda back in with physicality. And he slaps the corner flag in anger. He's arguing it's his shoulder. Well, you don't need to be a lip reader to know that perhaps the game is just starting to get on top of him. He did have an unhappy trip to Amy Park earlier in the season against Melbourne Victory. Substitution going through here. It is going to be Hiroshi Ibasuki making way. And Luka Jovanovic is coming on. Sorry, it's Zach Clough that's coming off.
I think that was a late change of mind from Calvert. I'm not sure if Zach Clough was carrying something, but it was definitely Ibasuki whose number went up first.
Johnny Barrero's done me dirty there on the LED lighting. Anyway, it's Zach Clough who has come off. He's a good referee, Jonathan Barrero. So, yeah, watch this space for Adelaide. You mentioned in the first half there, injury crisis with defenders and potential sale of players that's going to thin their squad a little bit. They can't afford someone like Zach Clough, who they have put so much time and effort into maintaining his fitness, to be carrying something new. Iran Kunda sliding in. Now he goes for the shush. I mean, everything he does is a little bit box office and commands attention. Here's Bovalina. Now Halloran, right back into the traffic. Bovalina, it sits up. And Curtis Good just ushers him out towards the byline. And in the end, wins a goal kick. And Curtis Good, once again, comes out on top.
Well, dare I say, that was very, very good. Once again, he's had a magnificent game, Curtis Good, for his side tonight. I think that substitution with Zach Clough coming off, Luka Jovanovic coming on, has just changed the system slightly to more of a 4-4-2 with Ibasuki and Jovanovic up front. Ibasuki might just drop off the line, the front line a little bit. Or Jovanovic, of course.
So, a new lease of life for Ibasuki. How much has he got left in the tank? Giving away the foul here.
When the form he's in, he won't have wanted to come off, I'm sure. He's had a direct involvement in 9 goals from his 9 starts.
Andrew Naboot running at 2 defenders. Aliage got a boot in, but Naboot back on the ball, and then just a scuffed shot.
Ibasuki, 9 direct involvements, 9 goals from his last 9 starts, 7 goals, 2 assists. He's certainly sprung to form this season, hasn't he?
To put it in context, his previous 2 campaigns, 6 in 21 and 7 in 24. And you mentioned those assists, but he's already got 7 so far, and that's in just 13. So he is flying. Can he make a difference, though, in the final quarter of this game or so, depending on how many minutes of stoppage tagged on at the end. Danger here for Adelaide. Bulgarkovic. Antonis lifts it over to Mazzeo. Now Talbot. Slow down a little bit. Stepping around, Arslan can't find space through the middle. Back in on Iran Kunda. Talbot, quick head check. He dared to swing in the cross, and Adelaide have the numbers. Play it down for Melbourne City, but Adelaide break in the meantime. Iran Kunda. Legs. And this will surely be a card here for Terry Antonis, it is. And Iran Kunda is back up and a little bit heated against Callum Talbot, but it's Antonis, the man who legged him, and he gets a yellow card.
Well, I'm not surprised to see a little bit of bad blood between Iran Kunda and Callum Talbot. They've been at each other most of the night. They both need to keep their head, of course, but I think that's Arslan. It is, who stayed down. He lost the ball and then fought ever so hard to win it back, and I just wonder whether he's felt something as he's dived in. It was a sliding tackle.
Well, he's undone the laces on his boot. Here, though, the yellow card.
Yeah, no complaints there. Cynical foul from Terry Antonis. Those two youngsters need to be careful when you put forward to forward.
Callum Talbot is not quite at the antagonism level of Jacob Farrell just yet, but you've been onto it from the early minutes of this match, Mossy. The duel within this contest. Tolgay Arslan undid his laces on his right boot, but seemingly after treatment has been administered, could be okay to continue, and why not when he's going at almost 90% passing accuracy?
Oh, look, he's been fantastic tonight again. Apart from a couple of shots from outside the box he'd probably like to have back. He's just a talisman. Wonderful footballer.
So a little bit proppy as he walks under his own steam. Here's another look at his slight challenge here on Iran Kunda. It's enough to leave him a little bit worse for wear. But the end result is Adelaide have a set piece. We have seen hardly any free kicks during the game from this sort of territory. It's been only a handful of corners. And so a set piece opportunity like this through 70 minutes has been a rarity. And Adelaide capitalise. Duzel bending it. And it falls off heads. Corner signalled by the assistant referee. And corner it is. Arslan makes his way back onto the pitch.
Looks like it came off Halloran for mine. Anyway, corner it is. Well, that's good news for Melbourne City. Seeing Arslan back out there, I thought he might have felt something twinge in that slide tackle.
So Duzel, the substitute, to take the corner. Driving into the near post, solid header away. Duzel. Asking a lot of Kiddo, whose header might yet break kindly for Alagic, who willed himself onto the ball. Jovanovic. Iran Kunda's flying down that right flank, but Galloway always had position. And now Naboot. McLaren and Arslan. Out to the right. Mazzeo is there. Adelaide have got numbers back in defence. Mazzeo to the edge of the box, telegraphed it, and intercepted by Alagic. Now Jovanovic puts his head down, blazes out to the left. And Terry Antonis stuck with him step for step, does concede a corner. And perhaps Adelaide set-piece barrage could be their avenue to an equaliser here. You see that corner flag. It hasn't been reattached to the post ever since Iran Kunda slapped it off. Adelaide's fans are going to be down in the corner, cheering them on. Decent little pocket of either travelling or Melbourne-based support. And Iran Kunda gets a cheer as he goes and he puts the corner flag back on the post. And he'll take the corner kick here. Ivasuki's got two markers for company at the back stick. That's where they're aiming. And it slides off heads for a corner on the opposite side. Warland knows it was a decent chance. Here's another look. Over the head of Isuzu, a little bit of grabbing going on, and ultimately the last touch off Ugarkovic.
Yeah, good decision by the referee and the assistant referee.
As you can see there, the numbers have no shots on target in the second half. Lots of threat, but ultimately the cutting edge is what's required. It still feels like there could be a goal on any given attack. It's been that sort of a game, and yet there's only one to show for it. Andrew Naboot in a very animated discussion here. So Isuzu still has Naboot earnestly marking him out, swinging corner, and Walland again, first head. This time he takes another deflection, 3 in a row, from one side to the other here, the corners.
Well, it's a moment like this that Adelaide really need to capitalise on to get themselves back in this game. The clock just starting to work against them ever so slowly.
This time a short corner, so some variety. Aligic concedes ground. Duzel clips it high. Young comes out over the top of Isuzu. And Mazzeo just kicks for territory. Minutes of regulation to go. Right up the middle. Jovanovic, it sits up and deflects it behind. Another corner kick. And this time it's Jordan Hall who saves the day. Jovanovic might have been forgiven for thinking that his little toe poke there might have found a way into the back of the net.
He was just waiting for the ball to come down, wasn't he? So he could just lift it over Jamie Young potentially, but Jordan Hall does a great job sticking to his task, defending the situation.
8-1 corner skew as the in-swinger is tumbling off the pack of players, not goal bound, and then Iran Kunda drives it low and wide.
Well, they're the moments Iran Kunda needs to learn from. The probability of scoring from that angle, hitting the ball with the laces like that, is so low, and there's so many bodies in the box that he could pick out. And the experience teaches you how to make the right decisions in those situations.
This is a big moment. Austin Ayubi is coming on for Hiroshi Isuzu. Alessandro Lopane also coming on for Ben Mazzeo. But Ayubi in the Australia Cup, Melbourne City fans will remember back in September, he scored for Metro Stars against Melbourne City in a game where City had to come from the clouds late and win it in stoppage time to avoid being knocked out by NPL opposition. So Ayubi, he knows how to do it against this opponent, and the moment you saw his name in the squad, you suspected he'd get a cameo like this to try and repeat the magic in the A-League. Lopane, who was in the starting 11 last game for Melbourne City, gets just under 15 minutes of regulation here, relieving Mazzeo. Arslan. And he's in a little duel here. Bovalina. Isuzu, we mentioned it was a humid day. He's cooling off. Melbourne City to find a second goal, but a slip here will not relieve Adelaide from defending. Could be a great instant impact here. Lopane finding the gloves of Delyanov, even though the shot may have been sliding wide.
Well, that would have been an impact off the bench, wouldn't it? Lopane, good positive play there. Just drops his shoulder to his right foot. Maybe just going to strike the outside of the post, but Delyanov taking no chances at his near post.
Just Melbourne City's second corner of the game. And for the first time in a little while, Adelaide pinned in their defence. Arslan. Delyanov, one big fist to clear the penalty area, and then some. And Iran Kunda's nicked the ball. It's Nestor Iran Kunda, one-on-one against the keeper. And Jamie Young prevails. Incredible. 17 years old, taking on 38. And Jamie Young made the save.
He did brilliantly here, Nestor Iran Kunda, to nick the ball, and then he's got a whole half of the field to cover. Maybe too much time to think, And Jamie Young just stayed big, stayed on his feet until he had to go to ground and picked the right way. Brilliant goalkeeping. And if Melbourne City go on to win this game, they've got their goalkeeper to thank. 2 massive saves, one in the first half and then that one in the second half.
Isaiah's booked for fouling Jamie McLaren, who was incensed with the decision not to give him an advantage. Isaiah eats the yellow card.
There's a fair argument there from McLaren. I think just delaying that whistle for another second may have given Melbourne City a really good advantage to play.
So a set-piece opportunity for Melbourne City. And the ball bends out harmlessly for a goal kick. Oh, it was such a cynical challenge from Isaiah, wrapping his arms around the boot, the trailing leg of Jamie McLaren. A hard-earned yellow. Duzel back to Isaiah. He's being tied up in knots here by McLaren in the press of Melbourne City. Long ball is able to clear only as far as Curtis Good. Ticking into the final 10 minutes of regulation of what has been a very entertaining game. Next goal, so vital. I feel like 2-0 will be insurmountable for Adelaide, an equaliser, and all bets are off for whatever remains on the clock.
And that's a danger. At 1-0, 10 minutes plus injury time still remaining. Melbourne City will know if they don't find this second goal and put the game to bed.
Alliage sees Jovanovic making the run. Jovanovic rolls left, defenders for company. And Galloway, the header. Bovalina wrestled the ball away, brilliantly done. But the shot didn't have any real velocity behind it.
He's shown he's not afraid to shoot, Bovalina. He gets himself into those advanced areas. Right foot, left foot. Not afraid to get his head up, see the target and have a go. That one was never going to trouble Jamie Young.
Isaias forcefully hit back pass, but Tellinov is able to bring it under his control. Kito, also an awkward pass to deal with. Adelaide, high risk, high reward, living dangerously. And now into the attacking half they go. Iran Kunda from downtown. And his teammates on the right and the left, both in his ear. Iran Kunda perhaps in his own head.
Well, Halloran's absolutely filthy. And I can't blame him, to be honest. We know that Iran Kunda's got that in his locker. We know that he can strike the ball brilliantly. But when you're chasing a game and you've got to get yourself back on the score sheet, the percentage moves, percentage decisions in those moments are absolutely key.
Ball continues to find him. Melbourne City in the meanwhile have got their own ace at the other end. McLaren out-positioned, and Bovalina getting it done at both ends. Successfully defends the situation. Promising half chance for Melbourne City goes begging. And this is going to be end-to-end stuff. Ayubi dispossessed here. Tension has ramped up that little bit more now.
I feel like we're in the last few rounds of a boxing match now. Maybe some haymakers swung.
Adelaide trying to defend from the front. Talbot just drives it to the line. And it caught a deflection. Melbourne City throw. And that will allow them to take some seconds off the clock. Ben Abraham seems well aware of what's going on here. taking a breather. Melbourne City restart from the throw. Naboot. It's being forced the wrong way here. Busy work from Ayubi, but not enough to win the ball. Antonis. Hard foul here from Jovanovic, and the referee has no hesitation producing a yellow card. Will it be enough for the trainer to be called out for Terry Antonis, who has remained down?
That's a nasty one. The knee of Jovanovic collecting the quad of Antonis just above his knee there, his left knee. Those ones are painful.
Arslan trying to judge the bounce of a long ball. Isaias gets it back to his keeper. One early goal, the difference between the teams, all the way back in the 5th minute. Yeah, this has been the sort of game that has suggested another one could be coming at any moment. Here's what it does to the table. Melbourne City jump from the outside into a 3-way tie on points inside the top 6. Jamie Young taking every second he can be afforded. Paramount Plus player index. Terry Antonis still top. Jamie Young, no surprise to see him second with some of the saves he's made tonight. We will revisit the Paramount Plus player index in the post-game show. Alic. Long ball through the right channel. Ayubi chasing. Out comes Young. Just a long bomb here. Keeper to keeper. That's one way to waste a few more seconds. Adelaide starting right back on the last line. Long ball of their own from deep. Talbot measured it in the air. Lepane cleverly collapses to the ground. New contact was coming.
Overzealous there. There's Ethan Alic. Tell you who else can be happy with his performance tonight is James Delyanov in goal for Adelaide. I think he's pulled off some important saves. Nothing you can do about Antonis' goal. It's just a wonder strike. He was played out confidently. Kept himself big for a big save in the first half. Under hit back pass by Isaias. Of course, the number one is away with the Socceroos, Joe Gauchi.
Naboot. The second goal now would be last rights. Chapan, ball, series of deflections. Lepane. That was a reflex reaction on a tight angle. The shouts for handball have come and gone without much ceremony. Zane Schreiber is going to appear for just his 3rd match of his career and the season. We haven't seen him in an A-League game since the 3rd of November. So he's been waiting the best part of 7 weeks for this opportunity, and he will relieve Tolgay Arslan here. It's a wave goodbye to the fans for an evening's work from Arslan. Schreiber comes on with a job to do. Protect a 1-0 lead.
Oh, it's an evening's work that Arslan once again can be very happy with. All Melbourne City fans understandably love watching him out there. Just brings so much to the league. But how good is Andrew Naboot's right foot, the outside of his right foot? We've seen him produce some moments of magic. And that cross he just delivered then from the left-hand side with the outside of his right foot was almost another piece of brilliance.
Time the enemy of Adelaide. Iran Kunda. Duzel. Neat sidestep. Jovanovic. Underhand pass. Melbourne City away with the ball. Naboot. Exactly who they want to drive down to safe territory. It's pass though, not able to match the run. Now gaps are opening. Halloran. Into the last minute of regulation we tick. Kiddo. Iran Kunda. Still Iran Kunda. And blocked immediately off the boot. Big shot, big block. Duzel. Ovalina. Now Ethan Aligic. Out to the right. Ayubi, first time cross, didn't get any elevation. Curtis Good, able to clear it away. Isaias. Warland, no time to waste. Reloads once again. How many minutes of stoppage time will Adelaide be given to chase this game? Talbot able to bring the ball under his control. Then Lapane, fourth official about to lift the board. 4 minutes only. Melbourne City can see the finish line in sight.
It's not often you see less than 5 minutes of injury time in modern football.
I think it's reflective of both the pace of the game and the spirit the game has been played.
That's right, and well refereed, I have to say. Ben Abraham.
These Adelaide fans, how much belief is left in them?
About 3.5 minutes. But they do, they have to force something here. They need to get the ball forward and forward quickly.
And a bit of time wasting muck around going on, but eventually the ball is reset and live at the feet of Isaias. 1 of the 4 minutes has already ticked by. Execution the key for Adelaide. There's a look at how the shot tally has come to pass. Adelaide with more, Melbourne City with the only goal. Isaias driving to Ayubi. Engages Naboot and then able to shrug him and free the feet for a cross. It's a corner kick. Adelaide had that spell of corners midway through the half that they weren't able to capitalise on. Maybe now at the end of the night, this will be their chance. Definitely wasn't the best struck cross, but had enough power that Galloway couldn't control it. And now Nestor Irankunda puts the corner kick over the head of Jamie Young. Warland was up, players are down. Clash of heads means play will be whistled dead. Ben Warland, who did get first head on a couple of those corners earlier in the half, has left 2 City players in Schreiber and also Antonis laying in his wake.
Well, the good news is so far no blood and both players are back on their feet. These ones don't tickle, that's for sure. Players putting their body on the line, one to try and get his team back into the game, one to keep his go-ahead goal intact. Terry Antonis. It's been a really good game of football. I know we're devoid of more than one goal to this point, but really good game of football, this one. Good pace, good intensity.
And maybe about another 30 seconds will be added on beyond the additional 4 minutes that were originally signalled. Can Adelaide even manufacture one more chance, though? That's the question. Melbourne City have shown that they can manage a game more or less, I would suggest, from about the 65-minute mark on.
Yeah, that's right. If there's one thing Aurelio Vidmar might be a little bit frustrated about, is not putting the game to bed, but they've certainly managed things reasonably well.
And now maybe only Only the best part of a minute required to bank all 3 points and return into the top 6. Long ball from Isaias. Good. Up for the header. Ayubi. Good control on the first touch, but still more work required at ground level. Iran couldn't put a boot in. And now Alagech. Touch from Kiddo. Not quite there. Alagech sliding in, but Schreiber gave him the slip. That might just about be enough for Melbourne City. Schreiber. Here's Ugarkovic. Could there even be a second for the knockout blow? Naboot. He was trying to force it into the path of McLaren.
Oh, he was so desperate to play his captain in, wasn't he, Naboot? Just couldn't quite get the execution right.
Crowd whistling. It's all on the generosity of the referee from here. 20 seconds beyond the allocated 4 minutes. Oh, and a miss-hit pass might just do it. And it's Isaias of all players. And a night of frustration for Nestor Irankunda and his team.
Well, dare I say it, Teo, and I'm a big fan of Isaias and have been for years, but he's ended the game the way he started it. Passing the ball over the sideline under no pressure. So uncharacteristic for him.
Melbourne City banked 3 precious points. An early goal did it. Frustration for Carl Veert and Adelaide United. Plenty of chances, but no cutting edge in front of the target. And when they did put it on target, Jamie Young stood tall. Terry Antonis' early goal, and a goal worthy of winning any game. It proved to last from the 5th minute until the 95th and deliver Melbourne City an important win. They jump into the top 6. Adelaide remain on the outside looking in, because at Amy Park it finished Melbourne City 1, Adelaide United 0. Mossy, I'm sure we're both surprised that a goal in the 5th minute was enough, given the intent with which both teams played. And this is very interesting, because these two, Jamie Young and Nestor Irankunda, had a big one-on-one in that second half, where the 38-year-old foiled the 17-year-old.
Yeah, that's right. And you see this picture commonly now after games. I remember Bruno Fornaroli pulling the young player aside a few weeks ago, and now Jamie Young giving him advice. There's plenty of advice around him. Let's hope that he's listening to it and taking it all on board, because learning your trade doesn't come simply in football.
It's a fascinating moment, isn't it? Adversaries 1 minute. And look at that, Jamie Young, so sporting, so generous, to go to one of his opponents and perhaps recognising the big picture of where Nestor Irankunda's going in his career.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. And that's what you love to see from senior players in the A-League. They know they've got a duty of care for young players coming through. It's fantastic to see.
And, well, even though there was a pep talk, he still leaves with his head down, disappointed after chances went astray, and Adelaide left empty-handed. Our Isuzu Ute player of the match is Terry Antonis, and he joins us now. Congratulations on 3 hard-fought points. When you scored, did you think that was it for the night and there'd be no more goals after that one?
Thanks, guys. Yeah, obviously it's a tough game. You know, I thought we'll get a couple more, but they're a difficult team to play against, and it was obviously good to get the 3 points.
Terry, Phil Moss, mate, did you feel it come off the boot?
Yeah, look, once I hit it, it was a clean hit, so you got to take those chances when you can.
And what was the talk after the game on the weekend, as we're just seeing it on the replay here? Beautiful layoff from Arslan. Just put it on a plate for you. You had to do the hard part, of course, but we've seen you do it many times. What was the talk from Aurelio after the loss on the weekend against the Mariners? Because I thought you all came out of the blocks really well tonight.
Yeah, look, we're obviously upset, you know, with not getting the 3 points up at the Mariners, or at least one. But, you know, everyone was fired up to get the 3 points at home. We got pumped last time against them 6-0 away from home. So, you know, we didn't need many motivation for this game.
Managing that 1-0 lead to the finish line, how much of that comes down to leadership and experience and just good communication out there on the pitch?
Yeah, look, we had a solid block. We've got experienced players on the field that we can hold a 1-0 lead. So it was great team effort by the boys. And
Jamie Young, that big save against Irankunda, how many pats on the back for him?
Yeah, look, it was a massive save, but that's what he's there for. He's one of the best keepers in the league. That's why we have him.
Congratulations on 3 hard-fought points and your brilliant goal.
Cheers. Thank you, guys.
Thank you to Terry Antonis, our Isuzu Ute player of the match. Let's go to the Alex Tobin medal points. Mossy, talk us through your 3-2-1.
I think Antonis was fantastic tonight. The goal and his general game. I loved his comment about, well, that's what Jamie Young's there for, to pull off the saves. Well, he produced two brilliant saves. One in the first half, a header from Ibasuki, and then